Hello everyone, it's your favorite talking eggplant, and today we're playing part 8 of Blackberry Honey. I don't really got much to say. Besides, let's just get into it. Okay, we left off at the very beginning of this new day. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. That would indeed be nice if it were true. But over the last week, Lorena had been having some serious doubts. If those who were poor in spirit would inherit the kingdom of heaven, then why did those in the lower echelons of society have to sit at the very back of the church? If Tawa were there, Lorena was sure she would have snorted at the hypocrisy of it all. Why was she pondering the hypocrisy of the Bible of all things? She had been raised better than that. She was a good Christian girl, certainly not the kind who would Christian the verses written in the King James Bible. It must have been Tawa's fault. The older woman was getting to her. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. But those who had cause to mourn rarely found comfort. When Lorena's father had died, nobody came to help the Law family. Instead, Lorena's mother had bitten back her grief, rolled up her sleeves, and diverted all her efforts into the upkeep of her small shop. She had worked from morning until dusk, darning socks and sewing lace onto sleeves until her fingers were bent, swollen, and sore, and it hurt for her to even move them. Lorena had helped, for nobody else would, and her mother could hardly afford to employ any assistants. So too did Ethel and Mary, but it wasn't enough. Not with little Alice on the way, and their father lost at the bottom of the ocean. So Lorena became a maid. This was 3 years ago. It felt like a lifetime. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. But once more, Lorena could not square this statement with reality. If the meek truly would inherit the earth, why had Miss Aimee been driven away from Bly? It seemed entirely unfair. Blessed are ye, when men shall revile you, and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely, for my sake. Well, Pauline had been reviling and persecuting Lorena most grandly as of late, but Lorena didn't feel particularly blessed. If anything, she felt miserable. The only one capable of coming to Lorena's defense was Tawa. Is that what Reverend Marner meant? Could Tawa be considered a blessing? But Lorena wasn't sure about that. Tawa, with her black heart and wicked smiles, was more demonic than angelic. Hardly a being God would send to comfort Lorena in her darkest hour. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great it is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. But maybe Lorena did have cause to be glad after all. She had Tawa, and perhaps Tawa was enough. She's like finally kind of realizing it. Oh, Ada, you must be so relieved. But why? Did you not hear what Reverend Marner said? Lottie smiled brightly, like one who had made a great scientific breakthrough. Knowing Lottie, the chances of that happening were slim to none. Blessed are the meek, he said. The meek. And what does that mean? You are rather meek, aren't you, Ada? Ada pointed at herself, her cheeks flushing pink. I am? Indeed. But what does it mean to be meek? I'm not entirely sure. Lottie pondered. tapping one finger against her lower lip. It is a complex word, and I have only been learning English for 5 years. 5 years is enough, surely. If a 5-year-old could not speak basic English, I would worry if they were an idiot. But when I was 5, I only spoke in Swiss German. My English is not so good. Then why are you acting so enlightened after attending a single sermon, Lottie? I doubt you could even understand it. Maybe not, but the Reverend has a very, how do you say? A rich and passionate voice. It is nice to listen to him. And I quite agree with what he said. Lottie smiled proudly, seemingly unaware that Pauline and Isobel were teasing her. The meek will rule the kingdom of heaven, and then girls such as Ada will be rewarded. I don't know if I'd be comfortable ruling anything. Yes, let's not let that happen. It would be a right mess. Much like your explanations. What can you expect from a blonde? Hey, what about me? You're not a drippy Swiss maiden like Lottie. It doesn't count. I suppose so. I fail to see what my hair color has to do with anything. I like your hair. Oh, thank you. But... Lottie pinched a lock of her her blonde hair between her fingertips. She tilted her head to one side. What do you think, Lorena? I think your hair is very pretty. But Lorena's voice was absent. Though she was with her fellow maids in the present, walking through the streets of Ellesmere, her mind was miles away. If you don't mind, I need to post a letter. Oh, you and your letters. Why do you even bother? Maids shouldn't write. We have more important things to worry about. Who would want to receive a letter from you, anyway? My mother, hopefully. Your precious mother can't be that keen on you, or she wouldn't have sent you away to Bly. Pauline! You go too far. I'm sure Lorena's mother loved her a great deal. Probably. Whatever. Pauline rolled her eyes. She didn't look convinced. You can do what you want, Lorena, but I shan't cover for you if you're late again. I'll tell Mr. Lester and Miss Smith. I swear I will. I'm telling the teacher. Lorena knew. She hadn't expected for one moment that Pauline would cover for her. She'd never done it before. Thank you. Lorena's reply was stiff. So were her shoulders. You know, you might want to be careful, Lorena. Why? Miss Aimee was sent away from Bly. You never know who will be next. Is that a threat? Thank you for your patronage, ma'am. Lorena bowed her head and exited the post office, the bell overhead jingling as she did so. The sound was light and jaunty, and helped lift Lorena's spirits. Being free from Bly and all those who lived within it, Lady Leonard, Lady Constance, Pauline, and Isobel, for a scant handful of minutes was pure bliss. Lorena could get used to this kind of freedom. Is this what the kingdom of heaven was like? Lorena hoped so, but at the same time, she had begun to doubt whether she would be going there after she died. She shouldn't have questioned Reverend Marner so. He must have understood religion in far greater depth than she did. He was, after all, a reverend. Lorena was just a maid. They say that a lot. With a small sigh, Lorena walked through Ellesmere. As it was a Sunday, all the shops were closed. Lorena only ever went to Ellesmere on a Sunday, and she had never seen the grocers open for business, or a queue snaking along the street of the butcher's. The atmosphere on the day of rest was slow, lazy, and languid, as it should have been. A black cat luxuriated in the spring sunshine. A few butterflies, cabbage patch, judging by their milky white wings, fluttered in the air. What? Lorena made her way past chatting old ladies, a few children playing hopscotch on the streets, a tall woman with unusual eyes and long, black hair. Wait a minute. Lorena paused, her footsteps stilled. She watched the woman as she walked past, her long hair fluttering behind her like an inverted bridal veil. The mysterious woman wore the attire of a maid, with a dark skirt and sensible white apron, and held a leather case in her right hand, rather more elegant than Lorena's battered trunk with the crushed corner. Lorena recognized her. She hadn't seen that case before, and a most peculiar case it was too, but she knew the hand that held it. Taohua? Oh? Taohua turned about, small smile on her face. My little Lori, this is a pleasant surprise. And judging by her tone, she meant it. Lorena's face flustered. She dropped her head and looked at her shoes. For whatever reason, Taohua's presence unsettled her. Maybe because Lorena had spent much of the Sunday service running the older maid's face through her mind, thinking of her eyes, her nose, her lips. Why her lips? It's not really a surprise. I go to church every Sunday. You should know that. Oh yes, silly me. It quite slipped my mind. Taohua laughed softly. Her laughter was light and elegant. If anything, I should be asking what you're doing here. The service ended a few minutes ago, you know. Taohua raised an eyebrow. You think I would come here to go to church? No, but I can think of no other reason why you would come here, unless... Lorena glanced at the case, marveling its bizarre hourglass shape. How bizarre. What do you have there? This? Taohua glanced at the case and smiled mischievously. This, my little Lori, is a secret. Of course it is. Lorena heaved a heavy sigh. I should have known. Nothing was easy with Taohua. The 25th of April, Monday. That was a rather short day. But I guess Sundays are always kind of short in this game. The following day was a Monday, and once more Lorena found herself occupied with the laundry. The young maid sighed, wiping the back of her forehead with her arm, and stepped back to admire her handiwork. After a rigorous half an hour, she finally managed to peg the laundry up on the line. The white linen fluttered like ghosts in the air. If Lottie had been there, she would have fainted clean away. What a peculiar girl. Lorena watched the sheets flutter for a while, billowing in a manner that reminded her of ball gowns. Not that she had ever been to a ball. Lorena might have been a Cinderella-like figure, forced to scuttle about amongst the ashes and soot, but she would never, ever be able to attend a grand event like that. Not without a fairy godmother. And speaking of self-appointed fairy godmothers. Hello, Lori. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? Taohua? Lorena glanced at the parlor maid from beneath her eyelashes. Sometimes Lorena forgot, because she often saw Tawa for a scant matter of seconds as they passed in the hallways, but the parlor maid really was tall. I see you've been busy doing the laundry. Yes, well, Pauline was supposed to help, but she mysteriously vanished. Am I correct? She always vanishes, and there's nothing mysterious about it. She'll be off bothering the stable hands, or fawning over the valets, or gossiping with Isabel about something or other. Something entirely unimportant. That does sound like Pauline. Tawa sighed. The wind made her hair dance mysteriously, almost exotically. The smell of orange peel and bergamot hung in the air. A lingering aroma of tea leaves, perhaps. Earl Grey. Actually, that would be Lady Grey, because it has orange in it. Being a parlor maid, Tawa spent a good deal of her time serving cups of tea for Lenny Leonard and her guests, and she often had a faintly fruity aroma to her. If you wish, I could tell Miss Smith about it. Pauline's conduct is abysmal. Oh, no, it's fine. But she is making your life difficult. And Tawa didn't know the half of it. I mean, why wouldn't you want her to tell, miss? If any complaints about Pauline's conduct were to reach the draconian Miss Smith, Lorena would be sure to get the blame. Lorena's life would no longer be worth living if that was the case. Okay. That took a turn. Pauline was not a learned woman by any means. She couldn't read or write. She was, however, unsettlingly sneaky, intelligent when it came to rooting out weak points and exploiting them for maximum effect. Her words rose, once more, to Lorena's mind. Slut. Not the other thing she said, where she was like, I would be careful if I were you. You look perplexed, my little Lori. If Pauline is abusing you to the point where you can't focus on your work, I might need to take matters into my own hands. I appreciate it, but I'd much rather you didn't. But Lori... What? I don't like to see you suffer so. Not when I have the power to help you. I've never seen her make that face. I'm not suffering. Don't exaggerate. I'm stronger than I look. An independent young lady? Indeed. Lorena didn't break down after the death of her father, and she wouldn't break down now. It's kind of like what she said at the beginning of the game. Pauline's provocations might have been upsetting, but Lorena had dealt with worse. She didn't need Talwa to fight her battles for her. In fact, that raised an interesting question of its own. Why have you been so nice to me lately? Do you even need to ask? Well, I just did ask, so... Oh, Lori, it's because I like you, silly. All of a sudden, the spring sunshine seemed to touch warmer than before. It was making Lorena's cheeks burn. Or perhaps they were burning of their own accord. I mean, you're telling me you didn't know before? She had not expected that. Dude, it literally the cliche. What do you like me? You barely know me. Because you have such a funny, serious face for such a young girl, and you always work so very hard. You're tenacious. It's quite adorable, really. I am not. You definitely are. Lorena folded her arms and turned her head to one side. I think you have bad taste. It's not like I like you or anything. And I think you should have more self-confidence, Miss Wah. Tawa tugged at Lorena's ponytail with her thumb and forefinger. Instinctively, Lorena jerked her head away and gave Tawa a glare. This is the second time Tawa has touched her for no reason. Cut that out. The older maid giggled again. Lorena scowled. Like it's so obvious that she loves to tease her. At least Tahua's gentle teasing was preferable to the out-and-out cruelty that fell from Pauline's lips. Now, if you're finished with the laundry, Lori, would you care to come with me? There is something I wish to show you. Why? So suspicious. I just wanted to show you something cute. Cute? It will cheer you up. Watch her bring us to like a mirror. Well, please, my little Lori. Please, please, please. It was unlike Tawa to beg. The brazen display was so highly unsuitable for such a cool, calm, aloof woman. Lorena found herself agreeing simply so Tawa would stop. Fine. Alright. I can lend you an ear for 5 minutes, but only 5 minutes. You understand? Oh, goody. Tawa smiled brightly and clapped her hands together. Lorena surveyed her, her eyes half-lidded and mistrustful. Her face flushed, the softest shade of peach pink. Why did she feel like she had been manipulated? Because you did. Tawa was literally talking about basically manipulating people like, what, last episode or before that? As Lorena soon discovered, the something cute Tawa wanted to share with her was a cat? That thing is so cute. That's right. Tawa beamed proudly like a mother cradling a newborn babe. The cat the older maid held in her arms was black, its eyes a brilliant green. It bore more than a passing resemblance to the woman petting it. To such an extent it was quite uncanny. The cat nuzzled its fluffy head against Tawa's chest, its ears twitching. Every once in a while it purred contentedly, battling Tawa's arm with a padded paw. Where did the cat come from exactly? Well, when a daddy cat loves a mummy cat very much. Be sensible, please. Oh, my little Lori, I think you are rather too sensible. Tawa laughed. The cat cradled in her arm shook, roused by the motions of Tawa's chest. I don't know where it came from exactly. I just seem to attract cats. It's my special talent. Lorena resisted the urge to roll her eyes. While other girls can plait French blades or play the harpsichord, you can summon cats at will. It is quite a useful skill. More so than one might think. I'll take your word for it. Tawa rubbed her fingers behind her sleepy kitty's ears. It purred in approval. How long has this cat been coming to Bly? I'm not entirely sure. He's been hanging around the garden for a while. A few months or so. Does he belong to anybody in Ellesmere? I think he's a stray. He looks rather well fed for a stray. Because I am very sentimental, deep down inside, and I love doting on creatures that are smaller and weaker than I. Lorena pondered, one hand behind her chin. You know, I found Lady Constance in the garden a few nights ago. I couldn't give a stuff about that unpleasant brat. Me neither, but it does make me wonder. She said she heard a cat outside her bedroom window. Could it be this one? I don't know, and I don't care. Either way, I won't surrender Figaro to her. Why does it sound like a medicine? Or is it Figaro or Figaro? I think I'll say Figaro. Figaro sounds like the medicine. Or a medicine you get those advertisements for, and it's like people having a barbecue, but it's like side effects may include eyes bleeding, toes falling off, and your arms just turning into stone. After the Mozart opera, The Marriage of, you know? I'll look that up after, and I'll learn how to pronounce it right, if I'm not. I don't know very much about the opera. I've never been to London. It's fine. We don't all have the same opportunities in life. It can't be helped. I suppose not, but... Lorena looked at Tahua curiously. Tahua might have what? Tahua might have had a higher social status than herself, but she was still only a maid. How many maids could afford to go to the opera? How many times are you gonna say just a maid? What do you think about my cat Panion, Lori? He's cute, isn't he? He is very cute, yes. Well, you can't have him. Look at her mischievous smile. Tawa stuck out her tongue playfully. Lorena resisted the urge to pinch Tawa's tongue between her thumb and forefinger. Figaro is mine. I thought you said he was a stray. But he more or less belongs to me. He even comes into my room at night. Ah, yes. Your room. I forgot you were so privileged. I don't know if it's a privilege, really. It definitely is. Most parlor maids wouldn't receive such special treatment. I am not like most parlor maids. Tawa sighed, expelling a soft breath into the lukewarm air. I suppose I don't mind the solitude, but it can become rather disquieting. Human beings were not made to be alone. You mean, you get lonely? I'm made of flesh and blood like you. Isn't it normal for people to get lonely? I don't know. I never would have expected it from you. You always act like you're too good to spend time with anybody, so I just assumed. Is that a problem? No. It's kind of endearing, actually. Thank you. I'm glad you find my suffering endearing. It almost makes it all worthwhile. In any event, if you enjoy spending time with Figaro, and he seems rather fond of you, I see no reason for this to be your final farewell. Pardon? If you wish, you may come and see him in my room. But that... What? Your room belongs to you. Indeed, my room does belong to me. Nicely observed. Dude, they're like low-key flirting right now. Lorena pouted. Don't be like that. What, right? Lorena rolled her eyes heavenwards. Though her view of heaven was obscured somewhat by the thicket of trees that surrounded her. According to Tahua, Figaro was fond of the shade. He liked stealing away within the shadows of this more thickly forested area of Bly's gardens, and rarely padded past these trees. Don't be factitious. I just meant it would feel wrong somehow. Why should it feel wrong? we're both women. There's nothing suspect about that, is there? Unless you're worried about being with Figaro. Obviously, that isn't an issue. Then... Tawa's eyes narrowed. A small smirk captured her lips. Being with me is? Lorena felt herself flustering. Despite the relative shade provided by the foliage, she bowed her head, lest Tawa see how pink her cheeks had become. Why did she feel so embarrassed? Because you know she's right. The invitation was completely innocent. Wasn't it? Lorena didn't know. It was hard to tell with Tawa. Particularly when Tawa's earlier words continued to circle about the young maid's head. What, that she likes you? I'm hardly the devil, my little Lori. If you must compare me to a manifestation of evil, then I would far prefer to be called a succubus. Alright, how should I do this? Lorena stared at the floor resolutely, rocking back and forth on her heels as she thought. Don't look so surprised, but I only came here to see Figaro. I don't really want to see you. What did I say earlier? How did that sound? Was it too defensive? It sounded too defensive even to Lorena's ears. Ahem. Lorena coughed. She could feel her cheeks starting to flush. This was no good. It was no good at all. She'd been standing outside Tawa's room for 5 minutes, but she still had no idea how to approach her. The door to Tawa's room loomed before her in the darkness, unreasonably intimidating. Lorena swallowed. She shifted from foot to foot. Gosh, this is ridiculous. I'm being ridiculous. I'm not here for anything indecent. I just want to see Figaro. That was Lorena's story and she was going to stick to it. All you have to do is knock. Just knock. It really wasn't that hard. Not compared to some of the hoops Lady Constance made her jump through on a near daily basis. She could do it. She would do it. And just like that, Lorena knocked against the door. She knocked once, twice, and then she waited. And waited. And waited. Was Tawa not there? Maybe this was all a waste of time. The knot of unease in her stomach started to recede. Lorena wasn't sure if she was happy or sad by this turn of events. But at least she didn't have to face Tawa. She didn't know if she could. She turned, ready to depart when... Okay, well, I'm actually going to leave that episode right here. Lots of interesting dialogue today. Seems like Lorena's... Well, I feel like I've already said this. Lorena's, like, finally starting to get it, but I think she's probably on, like, step 2 out of the 6 steps. Who knows? Who knows how many steps there are, actually? With Lorena, she could be dragging this on forever, but this is a big step. You know, Tawa inviting her to her room. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen next time. But yeah, thank you for watching, especially if you made it this far. And I'm going to go make myself a cup of Earl Grey, because they really got me thinking about it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!